welcome to DDOCast episode 532, recorded live on Saturday, September 15th. I'm your host, Patrick. With me this week are the voice of Evilbeeker.
Hello. Sorry, I accidentally hit a button and all my sound went away.
You timed that perfectly because right as I unmuted you guys, there was the
Sorry about that. Hello, everyone.
An ominous beginning. Also this week, we have coming back to the show, Cordovan.
Hey, how's it going? Appreciate you being here.
Yeah, this will be fun. We got some great, exciting things to really fully announce. We've been teasing and sort of half announcing, but I think we're actually ready to really go gung-ho on some announcements and some stuff. It's really exciting, and we'll talk about it later because I'm going to tease it right now. This week's screenshot, Seraphima explores the Underdark in the 382nd screenshot of the week. Nice. I'm assuming wearing the Underdark goggles because I think that's where you get in the grayscale.
Sure.
So.
Let me also put out a call for screenshots. The last couple of weeks have been a little on the light side, so.
And if you need to get a good action screenshot, take video and then pull off a frame. That's the way to do it. We like to talk about Dungeons & Dragons online nearly every weekend. You can catch us through Twitch, YouTube, the DDO forums, iTunes, or from our website, DDOcast.com. DDOcast is hosted by CyberEars, the awesome podcast hosting network. And shows are usually available within a few days of recording. The next show will probably be next week sometime, next weekend. You can stay updated by following us on our social media pages or our website, DDOcast.com, with our calendar. On the podcast this week, we talk about Update 39 Patch 2 that came in, so we'll go through the release notes and kind of catch the highlights. We got the some changes coming to unarmed strikes, and like I said, we have a big announcement coming up, and we look a little bit at Update 40. That's kind of, we got a full slate here. It'll be fantastic.
Yeah, the times they are changing. We got a lot actually going on in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. So let's just jump into game news. Update 39, Patch 2, was released on Wednesday of this week. We've talked about most of the stuff before, but I want to make sure that we kind of touch on some of the stuff, make sure everyone's nice and caught up on that. See, the Kensai Power Surge did get changed. It is no longer an action boost, and it has its own set of 5 charges, and if you have the next couple of core abilities, it gives you up to 8 uses of that. Let's see. Colors of the Queen no longer affects allies while using Flame of the Favored. It seems like a couple times a year you guys come up with new ways for us to hit each other with Colors of the Queen.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah, I think that actually is a deliberate thing that a couple of the different devs kind of trade off doing. They do it unannounced.
Whose turn is it to add that in? Yeah, I remember when Epic Destinies first came out, or was Pale Master. Judgment for a little while would kill Pale Masters, which was amazing. So that was always fun. Let's see. Blinding Speed subscription now matches speed it actually does. 22% range attack speed, and it's missing 1% dodge bonus has been added. If you're wondering about the range attack speed and why it's a little bit higher than the melee attack speed, it has to do with reload times. So functionally, it's supposed to be the same speed boost, but numerically they have to give more speed to ranged in order for it to come out correct because of the reload time. I think that's how that works.
Yep. And it's a little complex to probably get into on the podcast here, but if you're curious about that power surge thing, that really relates to a bug fix that really required redesigning some of how that works. And there's a post from Lamania that I unfortunately can't find the link to right off the top of my head here.
We linked to it before in a couple episodes ago, I think. But the Kensai's Power Surge was functioning like an action boost in some ways, but not in other ways. And because it was not in other ways, it was causing problems. Primarily, it had to do with people bringing up that the prowess set was being triggered for put on timer for a minute because of this. But there were other things as well. So to fix prowess, which wasn't broken, they fixed the action boost, which maybe was not the intended what most people were thinking about when they wanted to get fixed. But there you go. Let's see. We got Warpaint. So if you're we're looking to get some Warpaint, that is now available. Also, the level 8, 16, and 28 versions of Crystal Cove weapons had an increase in their damage dice to match the current dice progression in the game.
And you will see that on, I believe, Tuesday morning when we turn back on Crystal Cove.
That's fantastic. I said this before, like on the show or on DDOCast Flat, but I had the Epic Cavalry plate, the old version, which was medium armor because it was mithril. Like, oh, I can update that to the new version, and then went on my tank to look for it, and it was gone. I found it in my shared bank. I still have it. I did not feed it to a sentient weapon, so yay. Let's see. Wave's freeze effect now applies more reliably and is now properly made of bone. The Failing Carnival weapons got minimum level. Trish Shard is now properly cold iron. Hand wraps that previously were had sentient jewels in them can now be converted to colors, but not if the sentient jewel is still in there.
So the thing is, sentient jewels should not be able to be slotted into collars, and hand wraps that hold a sentient jewel should not be able to be converted into a collar. However, there was a situation where there was a brief time window where both of those things could be true, and some hand wraps were generated that could be not converted but should have been able to, and so now they can be converted.
Right.
But we're not intending to slot sentient into. Or no, it is still intended, rather, that sentient jewels, cannot be slotted in.
Yeah, no sentience for your pets. Although, it would be really cool to have a sentient dog, And they're already kind of sentient, but if it was talking like a kobold, that'd be great.
You should be able to have a sentient jewel in your weapon of your dog, and your dog should be able to have you as a sentient collar on it, so then you can always find out what each other are thinking.
Isn't there some way that I want to say in like pen and paper, like you can talk through your familiar or something like that? But,
oh, sure, yeah. Speak with animals.
Yeah. Let's see. Sentient gems with a spark and over 60,000 sentient XP should no longer lose their extra XP when being fed to a different gem. I think I actually had a guildmate that happened to him, and it got all kind of fixed and stuff.
Yeah, that was something that CS was having to manually fix, and now they won't need to. You skipped a few in that you can get mythic stuff and return to White Plume Mountain.
And also, the Bastard Sword Spinal Tap now goes to D11.
Most important change of all.
Right. And if you have any stuff from Night Revels 2017, all that stuff has now been spoiled.
Sorry. I kept quiet all year long. I know they finally caught on to it. So.
Oh, that it was longer than... Well, because it keeps... This is the second time, because that's been true for 2 years now, right? I think that was when we switched to Night Revels, 2 years ago. Maybe 3. But those candies have always said they will expire like 3 months after the event, and then they've never... this is actually the earliest they've actually expired so far.
I know, right?
Which is kind of nice. I kind of like having the things.
Yeah, I'm not complaining. I love those things.
Melee survivability. Actually, wait. Let's go back to Night Revels, which is going to be coming up soon. Because I know some people say they're not totally on board with the idea that the stuff goes away, specifically the ingredients, so you can't carry them over from year to year.
Right.
And you can correct me if I'm wrong in this, but my understanding is, one, that's to prevent illicit duplication of ingredients, which kind of make the event a lot less
it was particularly an issue when we were designing.
Right. But the other part of that is the amounts of ingredients you need is intentionally lower than it would have been had this not been true.
Yeah.
So there was
one of the challenges we've had in Crystal Cove in particular, and other festivals as well, pretty much every other festival that doesn't do this indeed, is that people have a tendency to hoard and stockpile, right? And so rather than having an event come back and actually be run every year, it's just a quick trip to the vendor and then on with your business. So the intention of Night Revels is we want to be able to keep updating it and keep investing dev time into, doing new stuff with it. And we can only do that if people are actually going to run it. And the way that we encourage that is by expiring the ingredients. It also allows us to set the ingredient cost quite low, because otherwise you get into this kind of inflationary thing where it just takes too much work to get Night Revels stuff. At its core, and this has been my experience in-game, as well as from design, Night Revels comes back. It only takes, at most, a couple hours to get a thing. Really all it takes. You can get all the stuff you need pretty quickly. So yes, that means you actually have to run the event when the event hits, but we're able to keep the costs and the inflation relatively low because of it. And it also, what it does mean, however, is that you maybe are not, once you have all the stuff you want, maybe you're disincentivized from stockpiling, which is your typical behavior in some other events. But that's a deliberate design choice. And I realize that not everyone likes that. Some people would prefer to spend one Halloween, one October, basically getting all the ingredients they'll ever need. And then, other than maybe new ingredients we introduce, and then really not ever have to worry about running the event. But we're deliberately trying to do something different with Night Revels that encourages quick runs, comes back for month of October or whatever. You get all the stuff you want, and then, but you have to do it again every year. Except for the items. The items stick around. So this is really just about the ingredients and the cosmetics. We don't take away your stuff. We just encourage you to only get the ingredients you need, and then also have a couple of super low cost items that do expire.
And you can pretty easily get rid of the item, the extra ingredients by buying some of the consumables and stuff as well.
I mean,
I think the ingredients also say that they will expire too.
Yeah,
so
we're all pretty clear about it. It is it's not to say the people that are just like, you shouldn't let the ingredients expire. They're not entirely wrong. It's just a difference of design philosophy. We're trying something different than we typically do on the other events.
Sure.
Now, what we've actually found, and the one thing I would argue about, and I'm sorry to argue about this, but the reality is we know the behavior because we can track the data, and we know what happens when people hoard tons of the ingredients from the previous year and then spend them in subsequent years. We know what that behavior is. We can actually measure that. And so folks who would say, oh, you don't need to do this because I wouldn't hoard ingredients and just get all the stuff right off the bat. Yes, you would. Maybe you wouldn't.
Some people
But
would.
enough folks would that we have clearly demonstrated data to show that that is the behavior that will take place.
I don't know if you can kind of answer this, but do you see data that also says that Night Revels gets run more often than, say, Crystal Cove and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's not so much a matter of run more often. It's so if you kind of look at the big picture on these events, they're about having fun, right?
Sure.
But there is some kind of encouragement to log in and play during holidays. That is also a key reason to do these kind of events. It helps boost your population, frankly, as a game. And so you're not going to see the kind of positive benefit to your player population if it's just a quick trip to a vendor and then done. Even if it did mean that 2 or 3 years ago someone spent many, many hours grinding through things, right?
Sure. Well, let's move on. We'll come back to there's some other information about Night Revels coming in update 40. We'll talk about in a minute. Melee survivability changes. We got the epic defensive fighting feat. It's a new feat. Epic feat automatically granted at level 21. Everybody gets it. You get plus 5% competence bonus to max hit points, and additional 5% for many of the combat style fighting feats. As we have said on the show, the shield fighting feats are not as part of this. Also, this would be a great opportunity to introduce perfect natural fighting into the and perfect shield mastery into the feat lines as well.
Yeah, that's probably the most controversial changes that we didn't include, or controversial piece of this, is that we didn't include the shield feats as a benefit for the epic defensive fighting feat. And it's something that we're listening to your feedback on, but I don't know. They have design reasons why they're not doing it. We'll see what happens.
Let's see. If they have design, tell them to listen to some of the previous shows, because we talked about this and went around in circles. It was great.
Yeah, I know, right?
There's a bunch of penalties that make you really stink at doing anything involved with range, including casting spells. As part of that, you cannot use scrolls and wands. That is working as intended. That's kind of the point to have a big drawback. However, there's a bug with this that quest-specific items are also having their range reduced to 0.
Oops. Yeah,
Which,
we'll probably have a patch or update 40 here.
Yeah.
We'll address it.
Which in quests like Price of Freedom, where you're trying to cast the little pads to shoot yourself up, or if you're running the Abbot, probably not, but if you're running the Abbot with ice wands, this would be problematic. There are a couple places like this that a little problematic with some of that stuff, so there you go.
Yeah, we'll be fixing.
Let's see, Barbarian damage reduction was changed to %. Let's see. This was kind of a fun one. A new NPC named this is Elonwi is available in Eberron Hall of Heroes, who will turn unwanted cosmetics gained from daily dice and deconstruct them into glamoured dust, which could then be crafted into other cosmetics available from daily dice. So if you get the one that you don't want, or maybe you already have it, you can crunch it and make another one.
Yep. And part of the motivation is actually, I think there was a post on the forums which is like, listen, I've got 10 of the armor, but I really want the thinking cap. Now you can get it.
Sure. So. And I don't know if this was entirely intended, but I did say something on the forums about being able to buy top hats from the store and then turn them in.
We had a discussion with our e-commerce team about that on Friday. We pretty much decided the solution is to turn into a top hat based economy.
Yeah, well, there you go. Keeps the lights on, right?
Yeah.
Let's see.
We can have a sub economy of monocles.
Enter the Kobold is now able to be completed again, presumably. Haven't seen it get closed yet, so. And that was because they were fixing the puzzle, I think, right? Some puzzle breaking stuff.
Yep.
Let's see. The number of cultists in Misery's Peak was reduced. Arena challenges. The crowd no longer throws supply crates onto the field after 5 have been thrown. That is needed to improve game performance.
Yep.
Oops.
Yeah.
An odd one there. And then we were supposed to get, for Reaper difficulty, damage and healing values having a minimum value of 1, but it looks like that's not the case.
Yeah.
It will be
they told me it was in the notes. They told me it was in the build. I put it in the notes, and it didn't get merged into the build. So,
yeah.
Oops.
Let's see. Skill bonus grouping strings now have more verbose and accurate tooltip descriptions. Feats are now organized by category in the character sheet.
Yay.
Is it a yay? I mean, the grouping is nicer. I don't know, maybe Evilbeeker can chime in on this one too. It's like I've noticed though that I'm having problems finding feats. Because they're not where I thought they were.
Yell at Linnabill for that. I think this is her change.
Sure.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me much.
Yeah. I kind of like it because it allows you to not have to scroll through really screen after screen of feats to find the one you're looking for. But you're right, if you don't know kind of where it falls into the
Except
grouping.
if you've learned where they are for 12 years.
Sure.
Now you're scrolling through pages and pages trying to find it.
Yep.
Oops. That's okay. Let's see. So there's the release notes for update 32 or 39 patch 2. Unarmed strike changes. So Steel Star chimed in there. There's going to be upcoming change, likely in update 40 with unarmed strike. So a few years ago, they converted hand wraps from being non-weapon equipable items into actual weapons. Change that allowed a large number of effects and abilities to start working with hand wraps as they do other weapons. In that process, they also brought over most of the existing features meant to help hand wraps DPS be equivalent with that of other weapon types. As part of their continued balance pass on melees, it's become clear that hand wrap monks are still an outlier in terms of DPS. When compared to other melees and even other monks, hand wraps monks are still doing substantially more damage than other similar builds, similar gear. I'll just say right out that this has not generally been my experience. I'm not a huge number cruncher, but My monk sure doesn't feel as strong as some of my other characters that people I'm running with, but I guess I'm building it wrong. So to correct this, they're changing the innate unarmed strike feat that monks get every 4 levels to grant +1 to attack while using hand wraps instead of +5 weapon damage, or plus 0.5 weapon damage.
End result, if you were going pure monk, you lose 2.5 W damage from your hand wraps, but you get a plus, what?
5 to hit?
Yeah, to hit.
Or that +5 to damage.
And it really brings it closer to other high DPS melee builds. You know, we had a bunch of devs do DPS tests on it. We had QA do DPS tests on it. We had the Players Council do DPS tests on it, and we pinged some folks like on Discord and YouTube and some other people just kind of privately and say, yo, give me some numbers. And it really did show that these hand wrap pure monks were an outlier on DPS, and a large part of that was we gave them an additional die weapon boost to really compensate for the fact that hand wraps weren't really weapons back in the day. And now that they are regular weapons, it was really just kind of making a little bit of an outlier. And we want to make some improvements to melee in general, but also monks in particular as well. And we kind of felt we couldn't do that unless we address this fine.
And there's other things that do increase damage to ice. We're just talking about the innate feat that monks get as they level up. So the other things that you get will still, items and other feats and other enhancements still do that. Still increase the damage that monk hand wraps are doing. So hopefully this means that by bringing the monk DPS down, they can bring everybody's DPS back up.
Yay!
That's what I'm going for. All right, update 40. So you guys released the Lemania preview schedule. So the expected dates for update 40. The first preview will be Tuesday, September 18th through Thursday, September 20th. So that'll be next week. Expected features: the Wood Elf variant, visible cloaks and cosmetic cloak slots, the revamped Night Revels. I'm gonna put a pin in that. Come back to that. Loot. So we'll get to see the new raid loot, new Night Revels rewards, and the revamped Sentinels of Stormreach named loot.
How cool is that, huh?
The revamped Sentinels of Stormreach.
Named loot and Sentinels, yeah.
Yeah. And I kind of got a little bit of insight. So, hopefully I can say this. Basically, you guys are going through the old named loot that's tied to the scroll seal shard mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
So that in order to make the scroll seal shard mechanic better. That was my understanding.
It's going to be a long time before we hit Manectron on that. But yes. Yep.
There's light at the end of the tunnel.
It's the closet that once you crack it open, unholy screams come from it. You shut the closet door quickly and move on to something. But,
Baby steps. Baby steps.
Yes.
And then let's face
it. So Tuesday to Thursday, though. Update 40 is going to be on Lemania. It's going to have the new Delira's Graveyard private instance. Basically the graveyard that you've been hanging out in is being turned into a private instance rather than a public instance, largely for performance reasons. As everyone knows, Night Revels has had some performance issues, and almost all of that has been tied back to issues with having the Delira's Graveyard be a public instance. So instead, it's going to be a private dungeon instance, and you'll just kind of go in, kill stuff, come back out, go back in, or if you want to. And functionally, it hasn't really changed all that much.
Well,
and then we are going to have the new Night Revels challenge dungeon as well. And
right, so this is Gravework, which is the spooky variant of Framework, which is the Minotaur village, the slaughter of Minotaur village.
Yeah, it's almost like you went in there and killed everybody, and now you have to go back to see the consequence.
Yeah, that'll be fun. And it doesn't look so then in the update, so preview 2 will be the following week, September 25th to 27th, which will also have the new cap level raid, the new Night Revels Challenge Dungeon Eternity Unleashed. So that's kind of the retooling of the Spectral Dragon.
Yep.
You're really looking to get some good feedback about the raid with that one too. So
yeah,
you can jump in and check that out. They'd really appreciate it.
Orca is putting together the raid, but it's just not ready for preview yet.
Sure.
I did have a chance to see both Eternity Unleashed and Gravework. This past week, I was putting together a video for some of our licensors and things like that. And they're both looking pretty polished, so I think they're going to be in a pretty previewable and testable state next week, except it looks like we have a little bit of work yet to do on Eternity. And I believe No Bob is.
Yeah, that sounds right. Really quick, there's some questions I know that people are having about the fundamental change of Night Revels. It's no longer going to be in the public area of Delira's Graveyard. It's going to be, so the part where you would go in and kill stuff to get keys and chocolates, stuff like that, is going to be a private instance, which, as you mentioned, has a lot to do with performance as opposed to being a public instance. With that, since it'll be a private instance, I'm assuming that stuff that wouldn't normally work in the public instance would therefore work.
Yes, I believe so.
Would kind of...
I haven't tried all those things, but yeah, I believe so. It should just work like a regular dungeon.
Right. So that part will definitely feel a little different because also people won't be able to just go in and camp farm.
And you'll probably see this on Tuesday, but the way it works, at least as of right now, is you click on the gate to go into the Delira's Graveyard, and it says, do you want to go into Delira's Graveyard? Do you want to go into the Delira's, private instance, or do you want to go to the Night Revels quest hub? And essentially you can go straight to it's almost like a tavern like space where all the gates to all the Night Revels dungeons are just kind of sitting there, and you can go straight to it rather than have to go through them into a private instance.
And I'm trying to remember, because when I was out there, we talked about this, and I think it's okay to talk about this now. Is the private instance for getting the materials, is that going to be more of a sliding scale, or is it still going to be kind of like grouped in by 5 levels?
Oh, it is absolutely a sliding scale. When I went in this past week, it actually was all the way down to 1, which also I think changed, right? Because it used to be.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway,
I
thought it was like 1 to 5. It was like every 5 levels. I think it included 1 to 5.
Yeah.
But...
No, it's a sliding challenge scale similar to Crystal Cove and all that, where just you can start at level 1 all the way up to 35.
Great.
Yep.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about. There was one bug that we didn't talk about. So the changes. So this has to do with favored soul feats. So they get extra hit points and spell points, and people are losing that when they die or under a number of circumstances. So you had to rewrite the code. It should have a fix on upcoming as well. So,
yay.
And going back to the epic defensive fighting theme, with quest specific items, I'm not sure. Do you guys want bug reports on those, or how can players say, hey, don't forget about this quest specific item?
Yeah, please do actually put in a bug report, help.standingstonegames.com, and you just kind of click on get support or whatever. There's a bug section for that. I think we're pretty well aware, because we were brainstorming, okay, so which quest do we need to look at when this cropped up on, what was it, Thursday or Friday? So odds are pretty good we've got them all, but it never hurts to fill out a bug.
There you go. Bonus days, double Commendations of Valor through September 16th. The store sales this week are Hack and Stash, get 25% off through September 20th. Slayer Boost, Loot Boost, Treasure Hunter Elixirs, and Select Shared Storage. You can also get 5 long-lasting Cat's Agility Potions with the coupon code AGILITY through September 20th. All right. Community news. The 300th Chronicle. Congratulations, you made it to 300.
Mm-hmm.
This means we get to see all those really clever questions in the Chronicle comment that you've been saving for when you get to 300.
Oh, God. Nope. It should be noted, I am no longer doing this. It's Olive. Sure. She's the one who gets all the credit for this.
And again, when I was there, she was... the first thing she asked me was, do you have any good questions for the Chronicle?
It is the hardest part of putting together the Chronicle. Absolutely. Because you think this is issue 300, but before that it was a Stormreach Chronicle.
Right.
And there was almost 200 issues of that as well. So in terms of how many I had done, I did like 400 or some, 400 and some. And then all of you's now taken over. You think it's tough doing it's because sometimes I get that. It's like, well, how come the questions suck? It's like, okay, think of a good question for the Chronicle. All right, now think of 100 more, you know?
You need
See how that goes for you.
You need a forum post to brainstorm questions, and in 3 years it'll become a Hall of Fame post.
Yeah. Besides, I also kind of think of it like the old top 10 list from David Letterman. That sometimes it doesn't matter if it's fine.
Sure. So let's see. Community spotlights. There'll be a DDO community drive for Extra Life tied to the upcoming Shroud Palooza event. Band VP unboxes Stormreach Limited Edition. Man, those are hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
The comment for the week. There wasn't really a question. How do you 300's Chronicle? Walk down the hall.
It was a clue.
Yeah. You have to actually see the Chronicle to really kind of pick up on that. Let's see. The Guild Hall of the Week. Legion of Eberron is a level 174 guild on Cannith. New players are welcome as well as wily vets. They have a Kraken and all guild amenities and buffs. Many players online at all hours respond that they've got a link if you'd like to look them up. Fansite news. DDOCast 531. Got a shout out for that. Had episode 118 of DDO Wiki Talk. DDO PL folks did epic dailies. You can listen to DDO Players News 192. Those guys are almost to 200. Congratulations to them.
Yeah.
Brighter Days Ahead ran The Sands of Menectarin. Fridays and Ice, that was episode 97, which Bachelor Streaming with Even was leveling up on Sarlona, and Grumby was.
She's been doing a lot of the Shroud Palooza prep work because she'll be streaming Shroud Palooza on DDOStream.
And that comes in November.
October 6th, I believe, is the first one.
It's coming up.
Yeah.
And then there's also, if you are looking for the weekly Wednesday lunchtime live stream, you can get a link there as well. All right, DDOcast news. Hopefully Beaker's still awake because we're playing DDO Splat again this week.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, sorry, I haven't actually said anything, have you? Sorry.
He's waiting for the next.
Taken over your spot.
It's all the technical jargon stuff, Jerry. It goes right over my head.
So DDO Splat will be back this week. We'll be continuing our march to getting Fly for Caught in the Web.
Are we gonna do White Plume?
Eventually, yeah. We're like level 24. That's like level 30.
Yeah, well, it's Kasplat.
We don't need more help dying. We're really good at that, remember?
That's probably true.
Well, that'll be back most Tuesdays, 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. Let's talk about the big thing. So we've kind of been talking about this and teasing this a little bit. But we've got, Evilbeeker's been running D&D on DDOStream. He's been DMing an adventure for, last couple of months?
Oh, we started in April. I had to look back.
Yeah, right.
But, we were doing it like once a month, and then there was a little span where we went a little longer than that.
Once a month-ish.
Sure. So maybe we should let Evilbeeker kind of start talking, because Jerry and I have been talking for a while. So let's let the cat out of the bag. What are we doing with this?
So this started all off, and I think I've said this a couple of times, when Patrick and I were having a discussion, I think it was on Kasplat, about how many people that played DDO actually played tabletop D&D. And I said that there was a larger number, and I think Patrick said I said there was this very small number of people that played tabletop, and Patrick said, nah, there's more than that. Well, we never really got a resolution, but what spawned from that was Jerry and a lot of the other DDO personalities from various places, Drac, some guys from Kasplat, Saba, and we all decided to get together and try it. And it went really well. I think everybody had a great time. And then I think Jerry decided that it was too popular a stream to turn away. So we've decided to do it every weekend as best we can. and we're going to have several different campaigns, several different DMs, including the three of us and a couple others. And we're going to try to get some tabletop stuff to you at least once a week.
Yep.
And so
as all of you know, I am into brand synergy. Ha 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 ha. Nope. But yeah, so basically it's one of those things. Tabletop's big on Twitch, and a lot of D&D players play DDO. A lot of DDO players play DDO. So it just made sense to kind of branch that and have a special Sunday night tabletop live stream. And Evilbeeker's thing has been going so well that we kind of wanted to, but it's been a little sporadic just because of real life schedules and all that sort of thing. So it made sense to make it a weekly thing so that people could expect, hey, it's Sunday night, 7 to 10 p.m.ish,
Eastern.
I can always see some tabletop here. But in order to be able to make that all work, we kind of had to spread the workload out a little bit because we're all volunteers here, right? So it just made sense to have different DMs, different groups, different players, and all that. So if you think that sounds cool to you, if you're like, heck yeah, I want to play some online D&D on Sunday night, there will probably be an opportunity for you to do that in the near future.
So one of the things that we're going to do that might be a little different when compared to other DDO streaming online is you're not going to see our bright smiling faces. While Jerry has a clean room behind him, mine looks more like James Halliday's from Ready Player One. So we're going to use Fantasy Grounds. And I guess this is as good a time as any, Jerry.
Yeah.
So D&D night is going to be officially sponsored by Fantasy Grounds.
Yes, D&D night officially sponsored by Fantasy Grounds. This is an awesome little thing. Fantasy Grounds is put together by Smiteworks, which is an official WotC partner. We are, of course, licensed by Wizards of the Coast and are an official partner of theirs. So it made sense to just kind of reach out to each other and say, one of the questions we get asked on your show, Kevin, all throughout since we've been doing it in April is, what are we using to live stream? Right. And we kept on saying Fantasy Grounds and basically kind of pimping it out. So we were able to reach out to Fantasy Grounds, and it made sense for each of us to kind of help each other out. We'll promote Fantasy Grounds a little bit for the DDO crowd, and Fantasy Grounds might be able to mention D&D night on DDOStream and that sort of thing, and it all work out.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I used to work with the Fantasy Grounds guys years ago. The property changed hands. The new gentleman, Doug Davidson, he's their kind of like their CEO. And I reached out to him, and he came back and said, here's some licenses, here's some stuff to run, and we're gonna give it a try. Patrick's gonna have a homebrewed campaign. I have the one I've been running that we're gonna continue on, and we're gonna have some new stuff, including possibly some of the new WotC products as well.
Yep. I also know we have some interest from Even. We'll be doing some DM work. We want to make sure it's not just a bunch of old crusty dudes like
I'm
us.
not old yet.
So, yeah. Well, you're not old, no. Nor are you particularly crusty that I'm aware of. But anyway, I am just saying, we're going to have the ladies also be doing some DMing here as well. And I know both Even and Bonnie Bew are interested. I'll be doing DMs. So if you ever were like, I bet this guy's a terrible / great DM, and you wanted to see just how running a session with me as a DM, that'll be happening around Halloween here. I'm doing a special 3-part horror show that should be pretty great. I've been planning for it a long time now, and it's all set and ready to go.
So just to kind of give people a little bit of a button on summarize some of the details. So what this is going to look like is every Sunday, when we get into the holiday season, this might be a little bit more flexible. Like we're still not sure if there's going to be, for example, the Sunday after Thanksgiving, if there's going to be a session there. December 23rd is a Sunday. So there's some things that we're still kind of working out and figuring out some with that. But basically the goal is every Sunday we want to have D&D on DDOStream, excepting the big holiday kind of things. There's going to be kind of a quote schedule. We'll have a rotating cast of characters that gives us a chance to have more people be involved from a DM standpoint, more people be involved from a player standpoint. There is the first month or two, really probably until we get to January, there's going to be a little bit of flexibility in kind of what's going on.
Yeah.
Jerry's going to be
Because I wanted to
DMing.
run a Halloween, particular like a
Right.
3-part Halloween thing, so it made sense to run it around Halloween.
But there's going to be I'm going to be running a very long-term campaign, 1 weekend of the month consistently, with the Damsels and some other people kind of in that tree. Evilbeeker's going to be continuing his current campaign at least for a little while. There's
That's the Annabelle's Curse campaign, right?
Yeah.
Well, now it's saving Saba.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, well, you said it, Patrick. If you miss my game, well, then you get imprisoned. So.
If you miss my game, there's nothing bad happens. But so there's kind of 2 of the weeks, and then the other 2 weekends are going to be kind of more of a rotating. So we'll have some longer term campaigns going on.
Yep.
Mine will probably keep going, and we'll see how long people last.
Yep. Yeah, the idea is 2 longer term campaigns and 2 shorter term campaigns a week. That way, we could rotate in some DMs. Maybe some people want to do it, but they can't really commit to 6 months or something like that. Or they have an idea just for a couple of sessions and want to run that. So every other week will sort of be kind of a little bit of a kind of one-off or shorter term campaign and all that.
Well, we'll bring you in as a hireling.
Yes.
Just look at it that way. We're looking for hirelings, guys.
And then during the few 5th Sundays of the month, which does happen a couple times a year, I'm actually thinking about doing like a little talk show or something like that. We'll figure it out. So
the big idea though is we're committing to try to bring you D&D night on DDOStream every Sunday, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern time. Might go a little bit longer than that, but that's kind of the 3-hour window we're really aiming for. Starting in October. Evilbeeker next week will be coming back to his campaign, and then the 6th is still kind of in flux. We're 7th. Thank you. We're still kind of trying to figure out what that's going to look like. There's a couple ideas going around, and then definitely the week after that, the 14th, will be the start of my campaign, and we'll kind of, and then Jerry's going to have his Halloween campaign, and then we'll kind of really get rolling from there. So
yeah, on a regular schedule. Except, like I say, then there'll be a regular schedule, but then we got Thanksgiving and Christmas. So
yeah. So once we hit January, we'll probably get a lot more ironed out about who's doing what weekends and stuff like that. I'm holding on to my second weekend of the month, but there we go. So that's really exciting. Really glad to be able to bring this to us, and kudos to Evilbeeker for kind of really spearheading a lot of it. And to Cordovan also to kind of help kind of make it happen and everything. So that, and I'm just here like hanging on with their coattails. I'm not really doing a whole lot of this.
So we would love to see you join us Sunday night, 7 to 10 p.m. on twitch.tv/DDOStream for D&D night on DDOStream. And if you want to be a part of it, really see Kevin, Patrick, or me, and we'll see if there's any opportunity for you. Like I say, Evan's going to be DMing, so you could maybe reach out to her as well. But we have a Discord. It is a public Discord, and I don't think putting in a complicated URL makes sense here, but probably have a link to it in the show notes or something.
Yeah, there'll be ways to get a hold of us and figure out what's going on and all that kind of stuff. So, there you go. So fun stuff. Really glad to be able to bring that to you. Again, next weekend we'll have that the continuation of Annabelle's Curse, now rescuing Saba Jade, and then 2 weeks after that, hopefully we'll have something, and then we'll really get rolling after that. So there you go.
If we actually said this, we're all looking at 5th edition here. It won't necessarily be a lot of it's going to be homebrew settings and campaigns and that, but it is all based on 5th edition.
Yes.
And D&D.
I've been toying with doing a 1st edition game.
There might. The nice thing about the format that we're kind of going with is you'll have a nice, really consistent schedule, but also there will be very much a room for shorter term one-offs, a lot of rotating cast of characters and stuff like that. So it should be a lot of.
If you do a 1st edition campaign, you need to have a Thaco slider on the screen.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh,
how many
yeah.
people?
the days
There's
of
there's
Sacco.
a yeah, there's more than a few people that don't know what that means.
It's true. All right, let's cruise into the lightning post here. Let's see. We already talked about the Night Revels ingredients. Someone wrote in asking about that. We kind of already covered that. FlightStuck81 wrote in. He said that the Falcon tree is interesting. The bird's damage isn't great in itself, so it's much more about the plus W's on your attack and the secondary effects like fort reduction for longer fights. Yeah, 50%. That's a lot. Fort reduction. That's pretty awesome. That'll make a lot of boss fights go a little faster. Let's see, the animal form trees are already powerful for a melee druid, and ideally you want to invest heavily in both, whether you go bear or wolf. He also said the whole I laugh at your supposed fire immunity effect while smacking him with weapons is a powerful combination using some of the Seasoned Herald stuff as well. Let's see. He said Beacon of Hope has been his secondary trio and his cap Lord of Blades, Warforged's favorite soul, and it's been really nice. He's been a pretty powerful frontline healer fighter now, and all that extra healing amp in the cores is a great boost. Angel Vengeance changes are phenomenal. The Sunbolt SLA is basically murder. Yeah, that's
It's great.
It's like a level 8 spell as an SLA at level 3. Whose idea was that? At level 10, he's been hitting for 400 to 500 damage and critting over 1,000. That's a lot of damage. The real trick is lining up the mobs to make the most of it. Unlinking the critical boost from actively raging makes Splash Barbarians more effective, since it means you can simply ignore using rage if needed. That was kind of the point. Let's see. We talked about a Barbarian Bear. He's already running a Frenzied Berserker Frenzied Berserker. And it's great fun. They synergize perfectly. You keep your spellcasting ability for Druid and primal-based Destiny spells. The mix doesn't work near as well for Wolf. Just not as many action points. He went with 13 Druid, 5 Barbarian, 2 Fighter for the extra feats, and the Missile Defense from Vanguard. And 15 Druid, 5 Bar would be a great option too. I have someone in my guild that's doing 10 Druid, 10. I think it's 10 and 10. Maybe 10, 8, and 2 with 2 levels of Rogue. I'm not exactly sure off the top of my head. But, yeah, it's a lot of fun synergies and stuff going on there. So, yeah. All right, we're going to close out the show here. Anything else you guys want to plug before we head out?
Lamani is a big thing. So we got, and October is not that far away. So we are pretty close to releasing update 40 on the live servers. I don't have an exact date for you. We'll see how Lamania goes, but I'm going to guess early-ish October, certainly the first half.
Okay. All right, so thanks for watching the show. Thanks to my guests, Cordovan and Evilbeeker. And again, thanks to the work that you guys are putting in on making D&D Night happen. I'm looking forward to it myself, both as a player and a spectator.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah. See, thanks to all the other folks that are helping with DDOCast, and to Standing Stone Games and the Wizards of the Coast for making DDO happen, and to Cyberbeard for hosting the podcast. If you'd like to support the show, you can visit our website, DDOcast.com, or you can support us on Patreon. If you have a DDO-themed webpage or you Twitch DDO and you'd like to be featured on our website, email me at ddocast@gmail.com. And you can hit us up at ddocast.com for show notes, MP3s, or counter previous shows, and other fun stuff. If you'd like to be a part of the show, if you have a comment in this episode, a question you'd like to hear us answer, or a topic you'd like to hear us discuss, you should want to say hi. Leave a comment or email us at ddocast@gmail.com. You can also find us on social media and follow us for latest cast updates. I'm at DDOcast on Twitter. So stay tuned for part 3 of our Update 39 review. All right, welcome back to part 3 of our Update 39 review. This will wrap everything up for us and cover a few little outstanding things and then kind of give a big picture look at everything and what we think of the the update. I'm your host, Patrick. With me this week, we have Arkat.
Good morning. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, and Evennote.
Morning. Nice to be here.
Right. So last time we talked about the enhancement changes. Before that, we talked about the quests. This time, we're gonna kind of talk. There's a couple outstanding things, but it's gonna be a hodgepodgey thing here. And where I want to start is we got loot revamps for Crystal Cove and the Carnival. This time around, or was it the Sentinels? I should double check that. So let's talk about Crystal Cove loot. What did you guys think about the changes to the Crystal Cove loot?
Well, a lot of people didn't like the treasure, or rather the spyglass changes, but
Right.
honestly, I like the idea of the additional +9 to all the skills. What is what kind of bonuses are those?
I don't remember. Let me look it up.
Insightful, maybe?
I'll look it up.
Anyway, so I liked those on the spyglass. So you kind of have to have those, and if you have the key lock ring and that spyglass, you're pretty much golden for finding things like secret doors and whatnot. So I thought that was a pretty good change, and I did like the addition of the dagger, whatever that's called again, flotsam. I did like the addition of the dagger.
Sure. Yeah, because they added the dagger and the quarterstaff, right?
You're the broken oar.
Yeah. Which is kind of a very nice thematic. I haven't seen it. Does it actually look like an oar?
It does.
Good.
It does.
That's excellent. Let's see. That is still the old version. Yeah, I can't find the new version quickly.
Yeah, I'm looking and I can't find it either.
Oh, here we go. I think they're exceptional. You're talking about the
exceptional.
Yeah, exceptionals.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I think that one was kind of the most controversial, right?
Yes.
The rest of them were, I think, well received. People liked that they increased the weapon damage. Of course, always like more weapon damage. Who doesn't? But that one really caught a lot of. It went through a couple iterations before it made it live.
Yeah, and this is where Linabelle disclosed to us, I believe, where they've got their new loot philosophy of having a maximum of 4 effects on.
I am reasonably confident they had said that before.
Okay. All right. Well,
I don't think it was something that was well known, but I'm reasonably confident that's not the first time I've heard that.
Yeah, I've heard that as well.
But yeah, I don't think people had that in their heads at all. I know I didn't. It's not something that I remembered. I just when it came out, when she said that, I'm like, oh, I seem to recall that as being a thing. So.
Well, it was news to me,
Sure.
and obviously to a few other folks at least as well.
Absolutely. And then named ones will go kind of off book on that a little bit sometimes too. So kind of make them a little more pop, but or the really exceptional raidy type items sometimes.
Raid stuff, yeah. And two-handed weapons
right.
as well.
Yeah. Which makes otherwise they wouldn't be very competitive for casters at least.
Right.
But yeah, it was kind of the thing that I think I like the most about the Crystal Cove changes is you don't have to go through the 15 upgrade steps anymore.
Oh, thank God.
It's just make your item, right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people really bought into that for sure. And I know Lessa was talking about it on Damsels of DDO when she was running it. So that I think is what. There's also no tiers anymore, right? It's just the item. And I think I missed it, but I think I saw a post about how that is also true of the Sentinels heroic stuff. That stuff doesn't upgrade anymore. You just get it fully upgraded now.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, you won't need the the marks of the dragon
Sigils.
or the sigils. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you won't need those anymore.
That's a shame because I have a ton of them. Well, it's not like I was using them, so probably don't need to keep them anyways.
One of the things I did notice about the Crystal Coast stuff is that things that you buy now in the new item chest cost a whole hell of a lot more green dragon shards than they used to, and I guess that's to reflect the fact that you
Probably,
don't
yeah.
have to. There's no more tiers anymore.
Mhm.
So
It is worth noting too that the Cove now scales up to 35 because I think it only went up to 30 before. I'm not entirely positive on that.
yeah, that's right.
So that will also make it easier for level 30 people to, get something. And the all of the items now also go up to 28. They used to only go up to 24. And-
Except for the glass cannon, that's still mired at level 24.
really?
Yeah, there is no level.
Oh, it doesn't. It only has a level 24 version. I think that's
Yes, I
that's
think
that's
so,
what it
right.
was before. So
Yes, it was.
it didn't have other versions. So, although I did find it. I gotta look at it because Cavalry Plate still has Mithril, which should technically make it a medium, which reduces its PRR in today's environment. So I'm curious if that's still the case. I haven't.
It is.
It is. Yeah.
It's still the case.
Nope. But it also makes it medium armor. So there's advantages and disadvantages, right? If you're a medium armor user, you love it. If you're a heavy armor user, it's not the best thing in the world.
Well, it's now heavy armor. I mean, it's still made of mithril, but they've decided.
Oh, it's still heavy armor.
It's still
so it doesn't go down to.
No, they didn't make it medium. It's heavy armor, and so therefore, at least you get the. I mean, yeah, the medium armor people are pissed, but the heavy armor are liking it because you get the full PRR value.
Right. Well, that's good. Maybe if I get some free time or if I have some extra pieces, maybe I'll make a new one for my tank so he has a better level 20 armor. We'll see. But yeah, so there's definitely some stuff to like in here. And I think mechanically, at least mechanically, it's a lot better. I know it'd be interesting to see. It takes more to get to that final step, but I'm curious if it actually takes fewer shards to make the item.
Yeah, that would have been the kind of thing that I would have sat down and figured out, in years past. But
yeah,
I'm older and I don't care.
Yeah, right. If I need it, I'll go get it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
By the way, the glass cannon is still there's only one version of it. It's the level 24 version, but it is significantly better than the old level 24 version of the rune arm.
Yes.
So
we should mention too. I guess I don't need to go because you can exchange any old items for new versions, but augments and sentient gems won't be transferred. So I don't have to go get new stuff. I can just go turn mine in, which I should probably make a note to do because at least for the armor,
Yeah, I
it'd be
meant
better.
to do that the last time Cove was here, and I just never got around to it.
Yeah.
I believe you can also, they kind of have it tucked out of the way, but I believe you can also still get the old versions if you
Yes.
want them.
Yep.
They are in the tavern in Smuggler's Rest. You can find the old turn-ins. Although, does that mean you still need the old items which don't drop anymore?
No, you can still get the for example, the trinkets
bits that didn't drop anymore.
The greater bold trinkets, they never drop. You had to buy them. You had to get them in the thing. So if you still wanted to, if you like the old, get things by tiers regimen, and you needed a greater bold trinket to make it, to tier 3, you still have to do that, and you can still do that. So.
You have to figure out what I should go update, which is probably most of the stuff that I should have updated and I didn't. Oops. Right. So, moving right along. The Fierlin Carnival loot also got revamped. I don't know that there's necessarily a lot to talk about with that stuff. It is better. You cannot exchange them for new ones. The old ones for new ones, and we're just talking about the heroic stuff, not the scroll seal shard stuff, which they did mention that they are before they do like the scroll seal shard stuff. They want to get the heroic stuff in line. So that gives me hope that maybe we'll see some of that mechanic go away. That'd be great. But yeah, anything you guys want to say about the Fjarlin?
I liked the greater evil, rather the evil outsider bane they added to the antique great axe.
Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty good add.
I honestly have not. I have not run Carnival. I haven't looked at the loot, so yeah, I know nothing.
The loot is definitely better. It's more in line with what you can find in game now, kind of for random stuff, which is part of the reason why they're kind of going back slowly and hitting a lot of these older, like lower level packs, is because you're getting these name things, and especially for a new player, hey, here's just, ooh, hey, look, a named item that's worse than the random loot gen I already have. So I like that they're kind of making this stuff a little better. I don't think there's anything in here that's going to be actually earth-shattering for those low levels for older folks, but especially for newer folks who don't have a lot of stuff, yeah, some nice stuff in there. So
Sure, absolutely.
And just a quick mention, the Red Fen stuff was made to be bound to account on acquire instead of bound to character now. The new ones. The old ones are still going to be the same. So, all right. Some other stuff that we just kind of some miscellaneous cleanup stuff. Stunning Blow and Trip DCs are now in tooltips. I wanted to
Yay!
call that out because I think that's
Yay!
really helpful.
Stunning Blow, I think, was before, but I know Trip wasn't.
Or maybe it was Stunning
Well,
Fist.
Stunning Fist.
Stunning
Stunning
Blow.
Fist
I think
was,
I
yeah.
typed that wrong. It's supposed to be Stunning Fist, which was not. So that's really nice. Really helpful. Please keep adding. Like, can we put Implosion on that list for next, please? Yep. Thanks. If it has a DC, it's nice when it just kind of pops up in that tooltip, right? So that would be really helpful. We're going to turn this one over to Evennote for this next one, because I'm sure she has lots to say about this. There are new pets with their Mysterious Remnants vendors. So Evennote, please tell us about the new pets.
Okay, I am trying so hard not to squeal loudly and kill everybody's ears, but yes, there are new pets. Oh my god, there are new pets. Yes, there are crayfish. I believe there are 5 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Galaxy crayfish, ghost crayfish, red crayfish, blue crayfish, and crayfish. And I only actually have so far the galaxy and the ghost because I can't remember what the heck I spent my mysterious remnants on not long ago, but it was before I knew the crayfish were coming out. So yeah,
I think you should probably just start stockpiling remnants until the new pets come out, because it seems like they're going to keep putting cosmetics and pets into this mechanic.
I probably should, because I still need 3 more crayfish. I almost don't want to say this on here, but like if you're on Thalanis and you have a lot of remnants, I've heard they're supposed to be BTA and they're not yet. So, if you could like have the remnants to get me one and I could trade you for it, that would be cool. Just saying. I don't know if they may have actually fixed that already. I'm not sure. But yes, new pets, and also, and I'm sure we'll be getting this, also a giant crab in the cosmetic pack. But and also they have tricks. I've only bought the dance trick so far. 5 new pets.
What does the galaxy crayfish look like? I can't quite figure out what that would look like.
It looks like I was going to say it looks like galaxy nails, but you're probably not into nail polish art.
No.
It's sort of like a dark blue, like segueing into red with stars all over it. It looks like a, one of those galaxy paintings or photographs you see from NASA type of thing.
Right, okay. Gotcha.
There are also some new cosmetic armors and stuff, and which I kind of have this weird feeling about it. I don't mind that they're putting this stuff into the Mysterious Remnant vendor, but one of the downsides to this is, like, when you buy something from the store, at least you used to be, I think they fixed it so you still can, but you used to be able to, like, try it on so you could look at
preview it.
Yeah. There's no preview for the
Yeah, I know.
vendor.
I made the mistake of getting the Zoriet Cultist Heavy armor for one of my Warforged characters, and I tell you, it looks during Lamania. Linabelle was wearing, the Zoriet, cultist, cosmetic, and it looked really cool. In fact, it looked like the Azure, that blue, the ones that we got with the pack, the blue. When you paid for it, you got that kind of a shell crown, and then you got the kind of like a light blue cosmetic armor with it. What she was wearing looked exactly like the light blue cosmetic, except it was black and red. It looked really, really cool. So I thought, well, I'm going to get that when it comes out in the Remnant store. Well, guess what? The one in the Remnant vendor doesn't look anything at all like what I saw on Lamania. So I wasted 10,000 on Remnants on something that I didn't want. I would have really appreciated a preview. Ability.
Yeah,
it sucked.
They for how priced they are in terms of Remnants, I think they need to kind of figure out a way to do that so you can see what it looks like on your character.
Right.
So even if you just had a dummy, like sure you can go on the wiki and look at it, which sort of works, but at the same time, like it doesn't match your character and your character color scheme with your hair and stuff like that.
Sure.
Not that I'm a person that knows how to match shirts and hair color or anything related to fashion, but there are people out there that are really good at that and care.
Sure. And I went and I did go on the wiki and I looked at it, and it was but it was a fleshy that was wearing it, so it really it didn't apply as far as I was concerned.
Yep, that's something to think about. Let's see, the color. We also, on the same vein, this is supposed to be coming in patch 2, which is not out as this recording, but they do have Druid War paints coming, which is kind of nice. I know a lot of Wolf and Bears are excited about getting some of that stuff. Arkat and I kind of talked about
on
it.
the Wayfinder Bridge about it.
Still banking on like a mohawk for the wolf. That'd be pretty sweet, or like spines or spikes or something like that. That'd be great. Let's see. We also something I wanted to kind of highlight a little bit. New greater teleport locations, which are they tweaked the teleport and greater teleport locations, but they also made greater teleport have a self-only version, which is nice. Or that's coming. I can't remember which. I thought that came out, but I haven't checked. And then there's one more thing I want to talk about, and that's the bonus item pack for White Plume Mountain, which I meant to talk about earlier, but we didn't do that. So I want to talk about it now. What did you guys think about the bonus item pack that they sold?
I bought it the moment it was available. I was not disappointed. I know some people said it was overpriced. I didn't think so for everything you got. If you added up, the points it would take to get a cosmetic outfit and helm, all that sentient XP, the goodies, the pet, yeah, I thought it was great. And the outfit is really, really nice looking.
I'll second that. The outfit looks nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I was pretty, I'm pretty neutral about it. I mean, it was okay. It might have been a little overpriced, but then again, I don't put the same value on cosmetics that obviously Evennote does. So, so I guess some people like their cosmetics a lot, and it's worth it to them. It was, like I said, it was probably about okay for me, but I know that there's people out there that were sorely disappointed and didn't think it was worth it at all.
And I think there's a lot of these, we looked at the expansions and the extra things they've sold in the expansions. I mean, a lot of that stuff is cosmetics based. And if you're not into cosmetics, you don't like that cosmetic particular one or anything like that, I don't think that these are ever going to feel like a great price for you if you just don't want the cosmetics, you just want the other stuff that's in it. Having said that, the falconry tree, it's the only way you can get the falconry tree currently.
Right.
Although it is supposed to be coming later. Although, as Steelstar did point out, they have no intention of selling falconry with ice cream, with a scoop of ice cream.
The one thing I don't... go ahead.
there is. I think they, with all of these packs, they are striking a nice balance between cosmetics and game applicable things, and the cosmetics that they have in these packs generally are some of their better ones, I think. So I think that kind of helps offset that cost. I will say I like the concept of it's separate from the pack. They did this with Ravenloft too, right? Like having the content pack and then like a separate. Or no, sorry, they did with Ravenloft. It's still available. I like how they did this one with there's the content and then there's this extra goodies, and the two you can get both, or you could theoretically only get the bonus items pack and not the content. That would also be something you could get.
Right.
And I like how they kind of made that distinction with this one.
The only thing, as a kind of a DDO hoarder, I wish. Why do you have to give me a BTA cosmetic outfit and a cosmetic pet that I can only have one of on a server anyway? Why do you have to give me that on every single tune? Why?
See, now
Give it to me on one tune. If I want more of them, I'll buy a Mirror of Glamourine.
Yeah, there's some interesting things with that, and it's a little annoying, but I think they also are picking the right way to do it, because they've kind of gone back and forth. They've done bound to character on every character. They've done here's just a couple for your account. The nice thing about bound to account for each character is if you don't want it right now, you can delete it. If you find out later that you want it, you can roll a new character and you have it and you can give it to that character, and it's actually not taking inventory because you can just delete it. It's a little annoying to delete the crab on every one of my characters after the first one on the server. But at the same time, I think it, from a user standpoint, it's probably the best option, because if you accidentally delete it the first time, you can get it again really easily, and it's not that big of a deal to delete 3 things out of your inventory.
Oh, that's true.
So, I don't know.
Even though I get a little pang when I delete a cosmetic pet at all. those damn spotted wolves, I have tunes that have been carting those spotted wolves around for months.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's the best way to do it. I was trying to think about it. Is there a better way? That, this seems like it's the best way to do it, because I don't like the Ravenloft stuff. If I keep keeping that stuff in my inventory, and it's taking up spots in my inventory because, maybe I want to pull it out for some reason or another, and I'm a bit of a hoarder anyways. But these ones, like, I can just toss them and I can get them back. It's really easy to do, so.
It's the better safe than sorry
Mhm.
philosophy there, so.
All right, anything you guys want to mention individually, or are we ready to kind of do a big picture grading kind of scheme?
Now I'm ready for the big picture.
All right.
Big picture it is.
So wrap it up for us. Give us a letter grade, maybe some closing thoughts.
You first, Patrick.
Oh, great.
Yes, Patrick first.
Me first. I like the pack. I like the quests. It's fun content. The enhancement changes, I think, are continuing some really great changes there. Although I kind of wonder if they're ever going to finish the enhancement changes, because it feels like they're just kind of moving the line a little bit. But I really like the pack. I really like the quests. The loot's great, and there's a lot of other fun stuff. I think partly because of the rollout was not very clean, I would probably land in the B+ range. All right, now it's Arkat's turn.
All right, fine. Thank you. That's fine. Yeah, I'm gonna give the pack a B+. I think on this, mostly because I do like the White Plume Mountain quest. I do like the loot. I guess I'm a bit of an optimist here. I'm hoping that that the new raid will make the the Wave Whelm and Black Razor upgradable to something, to some things that are very special. There's I got a very, very a big place in my heart for Black Razor, and I'm just really, really, hoping that it turns out to be the way, the way that I'm envisioning it to be. So, so I'm a little hopeful there. The new quests I liked, pretty well as well, and I think the changes to Barbarian and the Beacon of Hope are all positives. Some minor negatives are the War Priest enhancement tree. Quite frankly, is nothing to write home about. So yeah, that's why I'm going to go B+.
Evennote?
I'm going to go A-. You knew I was going to rate it higher than you guys just because of, a crab and 5 crayfish. Come on. And a falconry tree, which is kind of like more pets there. I have not tried it yet. I've run with a couple people using these falcons. I can't wait to try it. That looks amazing. I think the quests are really fun. I like that some are long, some are short. You get a good mix, and that you can run them in any order. Pets are great. Cosmetics are great. The humor in the quest, that's one of the things that will kind of keep me coming back to them. It does make them fun. Yeah, I really thought they did a really nice job on this pack.
I kind of almost like it better with. I really enjoy the story arc, quest change and stuff, but I kind of like it a little better sometimes when it's just a couple standalone quests. Like they're not necessarily tied to each other. You don't necessarily need. Like I like standalones sometimes too, so it's nice to have a pack of a bunch of standalone quests that are kind of loosely tied together in one location. So, all right, there you go. There is our update 39 review. I hope you enjoyed it. Next time we'll have a completely new topic, as of yet to be determined. I'd like to thank Evennote and Arkat for joining me today to record all of this in one shot. If you'd like to support the show, you can visit our website, DDOCast.com. You can also support us on Patreon. You can also find show notes, past shows, and more on our website. You can follow me at DDOCast on Twitter to follow us for the latest cast updates. If you'd like to join the discussion, leave a comment or email us at DDOCast@gmail.com. So until next time, may all your attack rolls be crits, all your chest level appropriate, have fun, and don't forget to gather for buffs.